Hey YouTube, hey Facebook, welcome back to another video. Yes, I've made patty on my channel before, but some people on Facebook was killing me and a couple people on YouTube were saying that I did not make the filling. I didn't show how to make the filling. So today we're going to be doing the dough again. We're going to be doing the filling and we're also going to be making some vegetable patty. All right. So to my new subscribers, welcome to my channel. Thank you for coming. And to my new viewer, don't leave without hitting that red subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. To my loyal subscribers who are always coming back to watch my video, I appreciate you all and thank you for always coming back. All right, so let's get into the video, guys. So in this bowl I have 6 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of turmeric. Alright, you can use food coloring because I've used that before, but I'm just going to be working with turmeric today because I don't have any food coloring. And I'm also going in with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and the reason for that is whenever I fry chicken, the cornstarch helps to give my chicken a nice crisp. So I'm going to test it out in my patty today to see if it will work as well, because I like when I bite in my patty and it's crunchy. Alright, I'm just going to whisk this up, and I also added a tablespoon of sugar to balance out all the savory. And the next thing we're going to do is just sift everything to make sure that everything is nice and refined. So in this bowl I have 4 tablespoons of butter and I have about 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. I am going to add this to my flour, and I added it in the freezer for about an hour so that it can become harder, so that when I'm molding it in the flour it can get to do the job. Alright, so I'm just going to use my fingers and mold it in the flour until it's kind of have like a breadcrumb consistency. Yeah, and then we're going to add our eggs. So this right here is the consistency that I'm looking for. As you can see, the dough is nice and crummy, kind of like a breadcrumbs. So now I'm going to add my eggs, and in this bowl I have a 5 egg yolk and just 1 whole egg with the white. And the reason for that is we're always using the egg white and the egg yolk together, and my daughter suggested that since egg yolk normally make things flaky, why not use more of the egg yolk than the egg white. So we only have 1 egg with the white in here, and the other 5 is just egg yolk. Alright, so since we are looking for that nice, when you bite in a patty and the crumbs drop around, yeah, that's what we're looking for. I'm just adding about 2 tablespoons of oil here now, and then we're gonna add our iced water. You can either have your water sitting in the freezer, or you can add some ice to it like what you see me have here. And I'm just gonna gradually add the water until, don't pour it in there, we're just gonna gradually add it until our dough forms a nice soft dough. And we're not gonna knead it, we're just gonna film wrap it and put it in the fridge for 1 hour. So now that our dough has come together nicely, as you can see, it's nice and soft, and we're not going to knead it. We're just going to grease it just a little bit with about a teaspoon of oil, and then we're going to put it in the fridge. If you're not ready to use it, you can put it in the freezer, but we're just gonna put it in the fridge for about 1 hour. Mine ended up being in there for 2 hours because I was doing something, and yeah, I had to let it stay in there, but it doesn't really matter. So now we're just gonna wrap it up, put it in the fridge, and we're gonna make our patty filling. All right, so after the patty filling, we're gonna do the second rollout, and then we're gonna make the vegetable for our vegetable patties. So now we're gonna season our beef, and you don't have to use the seasoning that you see me using. You can use whatever you have in your home at the moment. For me, I like my taco seasoning in the beef, so I'm adding 2 teaspoons of that, and I'm also gonna add 2 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of Italian herbs and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Now for my ground seasoning and my vegetables, I'm adding only scallion. I'm not adding any onion, but you can go ahead and add onion if you wish. And then I'm going to add a piece of Scotch bonnet pepper and a piece of jalapeno pepper, which is my choice because I also like the taste of jalapeno pepper when it's in beef. So I'm going to add that, and I'm also going to chop up some bell peppers as well. And that's going to be it. Now for my ground beef, the ground beef that I get in Walmart usually very oily. All right, it's a lot of fat in there, so you don't need to add any oil. That's the reason I add it first. So I'm just gonna add it to extract all those grease, and I'm also going to add my scallion and stuff afterwards. All right, so as soon as this starting to get greasy, I'm gonna go in with my ground seasoning. And you know, when you're cooking ground beef, you have to stir it up constantly for a while so that it can, you know, the heat can get to distribute throughout the beef and it can get to cook evenly, because it tends to lump up. So you want to make sure that you're constantly stirring it. And I'm also going to add some browning, and yeah, you just add your desired browning. You don't want it to be too dark, but you want it to have a little color, a nice color. So I added about 2 tablespoons of browning. This is not my Grace Jamaican browning, so I have to add more than I would normally add. But if you're using the Grace browning, maybe a teaspoon or a tablespoon will do. But I ended up adding 2 tablespoons of this browning because it was very watery. So you can see the amount of fat that is coming out of this beef. Yeah, so I'm gonna strain it off. That is the reason I did not add any oil when I'm cooking it, because I've always used this when I'm making samosa, and I know it makes a lot of, it springs a lot of fat. So now I'm going in with my ketchup, my breadcrumbs, and I'm adding a little bit of chili sauce, yeah, to add a little spice to my thing. Yeah, I like when my beef is spicy, so you don't have to add the chili sauce. You can just add the ketchup on the breadcrumbs if you're afraid of the spice. Alright, so I'm just gonna stir this up, add a little bit of water, and let it cook down. So now that my beef is ready, I'm just gonna let it cool down, put it in a bowl and put it in the freezer, and let the all the gravy and the fat solidify so that it doesn't run when I'm adding it into my patty. All right, and then we're gonna move on to our rolling out process of our patty dough. So the patty dough was in the freezer for, not the freezer, sorry, the fridge for 2 hours. We're just gonna take it out and roll it out real nice. And I also had some butter in the freezer as well. I had the butter in the freezer to make sure that it's really nice and hard. And yeah, some of it is still gonna escape because we're human and we're not rolling out as fast as a machine would roll it out. So the butter is gonna get soft. If you're not comfortable using the butter, you can just use a brush and brush on some oil, fold it and brush on some more oil again and fold it again, because that would be more easier to manage. But I'm using the butter from the freezer. I'm gonna add some in the center, fold it over, roll it out, and of course some is gonna escape because I'm not rolling out as fast as I can. I'm rolling it out as fast as I can, but not fast enough, so some of the butter is gonna escape, but that's fine. All right, so we're just gonna roll it out and add more butter and roll it again. So as you can see, I'm adding more flour so that it's easier to work with. Need some flour on your surface so that it can work easy. You don't want it to stick to your surface. And guys, before I put my dough on my surface, I make sure that I clean it. I don't carry a dirty kitchen. For those onlookers and those naysayers who like to criticize, yes, my counter is very much clean. All right. And guys, when you're making any form of pie dough or pastry dough, there's a lot of butter that goes in there. So if you don't want to intake that much butter or that much fat, you can just skip this rolling out process and go ahead and make your patty. What this process does is just simply make your patty more flaky. Alright, so if you're into flakes, you can go ahead and do this process. If not, just go ahead and skip it. So now that this rolling out process is finished, I am just going to fold up my dough and I'm going to put it back in that same film wrap that it was in before. Put it in a Ziploc bag and I'm going to put it in my freezer for 1 hour. And the reason I'm putting it in the freezer is because it's going to make it easier for me when I'm rolling it out and no more butter can get to escape. Alright, so I'm going to put it in there, and while it's in there, I am going to make my vegetable. So for my veggie, I'm gonna make a simple stew. Alright, I'm gonna make some stew peas and add some vegetables, some mixed vegetable to that. So I'm just gonna rinse my peas, add my coconut milk, add my scallion, thyme, and my Scotch bonnet pepper, and I'm also gonna add some water, and then I'm going to put it to pressure for 15 minutes. After I put it to pressure for 15 minutes, the peas needed to cook a little bit more, so I added an extra 5 minutes, and then I transfer it to the stove. So I'm going to add some more water and my vegetable and allow it to cook down. So I already added a teaspoon of salt when I was cooking the peas. So I'm just going in with a teaspoon of adobo all-purpose seasoning just to add some extra flavor. And guys, this coconut milk cooking down in the peas smells so good in the kitchen. What I did now is just add a teaspoon of cornstarch mixed with water and I add it to my pot just to make the gravy cook down to a nice thick consistency, and then I'm gonna cool it down and put it in the freezer as well. So now it's time to make our patties, and I know it may seem a bit tedious, but all you need is patience, guys. It's not hard to do. You just need to be a patient person. You can't be, rushy. You have to take your time and just, do what you're doing. Just like how you'd give your child an extracurricular activity to do. Yeah, you just have to be in the right frame of mind and say, today I'm going to do something different. I'm going to be making some patties. If you're in Jamaica where you have access to all the good up patty, the mother's patty, juicy beef and all those patties, then that's fine. But for those like myself who don't have it at my fingertip, yeah, I have to make it whenever I can. Sometimes Walmart have them, and sometimes you just want to make something yourself to get the taste that you want. So if you're into making patties, just be patient. It's not hard. As you can see, I just use a soup bowl and I just place it down and then use my knife to cut them out in circles. So these need to be a little bit thinner. I'm just going to use my rolling pin to just roll them out just a little bit more, and then I'm going to add my beef and my cheese, and then I do the same for my vegetable, except for the vegetable patties I don't add any cheese. So I'm just adding my sealant. Sometimes I use egg wash, but I already started working with cornstarch, so I'm just going to continue with some cornstarch and water. I have a tablespoon of cornstarch and about 4 tablespoons of water mixed together, and yeah, I just put it like halfway on the patty dough, and then I add my beef and cheese, and then I seal it with my fingers. Next I'm going to use my fork to pinch the side all the way around, and then if you want it nice and neat, you can just use your knife to peer around the side that you use the forks, just to make it a bit more uniformed. And I know the beef kind of look a bit different, and that is because I put it in the freezer so that the sauce can be more solidified and doesn't drain when I'm putting it in the patty. So as soon as the patty get hot, then it's gonna melt down. And as you can see, I just pierce the top of it with a fork just to create that air pocket for the steam to come through. So I already have my baking sheet already prepared. My oven is preheated at 350 degrees, and I put parchment paper at the bottom of my baking pans. So I am just gonna add some egg wash to the top of this and pop them in the oven. So my patties are ready. I baked them for 30 minutes at 350 degrees, and they are finally ready. I'm just gonna cut in it. It's very hot and steamy, and there you have it, guys. This is a beef patty, and I'm just gonna cut the vegetable patty at the end and show you, but at first I just had to sit down and enjoy this beef patty before I try the vegetable patty. And guys, I must tell you, my favorite of all was the vegetable patties. Yes, the vegetable patties was extremely delicious. All the coconut milk in the peas, everything just come together nicely, and the vegetable patty was more spicier as well. So this is the vegetable patty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed as yet, and if you've made it to the end of this video, I really appreciate every single one of you for clicking on my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.